What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome. Welcome to the Hypothesis, everybody. It's me, Kimberly Epphone, coming at you with a new episode. Today I'm going to discuss the art of psychological warfare when it pertains to gaining complete control over a person's entire life. Today's episode is not sponsored by Splinter Cell's Chaos Theory, but I'm a sucker for retro gaming when I occasionally like to take on the hobby. Even though I'm not much of a video gamer anymore, I just thought that was a classic game. I still own a PlayStation 2, but I've sold all my other consoles. Make sure you grab yourself a free cookie, freshly baked out of the oven, and Kimmy is going to provide you with the skitty on the art of psychological warfare. Check it out. I'm going to break it down for you. It's going to go like this. Psychological warfare is a set of social systems carefully designed and carefully orchestrated in order to gain complete and utter control over a person's entire life. So the game is sometimes to control a person's finances, which is what we call consumerism often. The game can be used to control people in other aspects of their lives as well, such as religious belief systems, self-worth, the ability to become a free thinker, and sometimes very often known as obedience training. First, I'm going to dive into the topic of controlling a person's finances. Okay, so psychological warfare is used to control a person's finances. So you go find a company that you want to work for and try and move up the ladder. You work your ass off. They may choose to underpay you, overwork you, undervalue you, and make you feel small. Because using these methods of control will not only control your finances and keep you limited, but it makes you come around to just accepting the fact that, okay, it's a gotcha moment. I applied for that promotion, and even though I did a good job for the company, everybody liked my work ethic. I was a hard worker. I was creative. I had a lot of ambition. In this case, they find 100 reasons to tell you that you're not good enough for the position when you've already been working your ass off for the company anyways. And they just don't respect you enough to give you the promotion. So they end up giving it to somebody else who may not even be as hard of a worker, but maybe plays the perfect game of wussy ass kissing better than you. I mean, I'm no stranger to hard work, but I just used to be comfortable allowing people to step all over me. Even when I left certain companies or places, though, they count on the energy I brought and the work ethic that I left behind, because I set an example, in my opinion, at that last company I was at. Ever since I left, though, the company has been like using what I left behind to improve themselves. That's the way I'm interpreting it. And it's like, well, you didn't respect me then, so don't ever expect me to come back, but if you still use me today for your own interest without my consent, I mean, I would potentially issue you a gag order or something if I was involved in the legal system, but since I'm not, and since people love to pick my pockets currently, it's all good. I'm a firm believer in hard work generates success, and I will find my own way, even if people pick my pockets and this is socially acceptable. The next part of psychological warfare I'm going to discuss is religious extremism. Okay, I already did an episode where I talked about people abusing their power a little bit, specifically in religion, but I'm just going to briefly mention again in this episode regarding psychological warfare, what it means to abuse power. Like, for example, somebody who preaches the word of God may convince an entire group of people that it is okay to hurt people in the name of God, or something like that. And they believe that they're doing this for God, but it's an extreme way of thinking. And it gives people a reason to do harm to others, which is never a good thing, right? This is what I call the most dangerous form of psych warfare, because you're taking on a belief system that is supposed to help you become better and help other people become better. But the person who's in charge, who's conveying the message, is weaponizing it in order to gain control over their followers. I've seen people use scripture before to say it's okay to hurt others. So I rest my case with that, but it's all about controlling you. The next one I'm going to mention is self-worth. Okay, so self-worth is psych warfare basically meaning that how you perceive yourself is how you perceive yourself versus how others perceive you. The question is, will their perceptions regarding you control you or dictate the way you choose to live your life? Well, if it can allow you to, I mean, I don't personally let people tell me what I can and can't do. Like, if I want to do something, I'll just get it done. But people can't control me at all when it comes to like making music on social media or doing something like this. I don't personally let people control me at all, but if somebody is in like a specific toxic family group, for example, it can only work if you allow it to work. For example, like somebody in a toxic family may have made phone calls to intentionally leave me out of opportunities, doing whatever they can to cheat me out of the blessing. And that's not my fault. It's somebody in just a toxic family group. And it gives the idiot jolts of dopamine and a sense of control. But even if they made sure that I got left out of specific opportunities or things that were left to me, just due to jealousy, envy, greed, and an abuse of power, I just kept going anyways. And it's still a matter of having that sense of self-worth versus letting people tell you what they think is best for you. I never let anybody tell me, even if they don't like me. So, for example, if people want to hate on me, even on this platform, that's fine. They can make their own decisions. And I never argue with somebody who shows me support, but a lot of people are hating, I think, just mainly due to jealousy or envy. And I didn't show up for a debate regarding this, but I know I've got a solid thing going on with the music, and I'm definitely going to continue that. And if somebody potentially makes phone calls to leave me out of opportunities, convince people to come against me and limit my growth, all it really does is show the person on the phone that they are insecure themselves or threatened by my potential, and the people they convince to go along with this either choose to believe lies or they just care more about money and social status than doing the right thing. Still doesn't work on me though. Psychological warfare is a digestible word salad, easily to be discarded. Stay in your lane and stay on your path if you want to do something like music though. Don't let anybody tell you you aren't good enough. The next discussion regarding psychological warfare I want to discuss is the ability to become a free thinker. So when you go on social media, whatever you're choosing to post, whatever message you're trying to get out there, who's telling you what to say? I'm curious, because some people do have talent. Some people have talent agents. Some people do it on their own, or they just get involved in partnerships with companies who pays them money to discuss certain subjects. And hell, I've even seen people who do podcasts before mention that they hire drug addicts off the streets to do their dirty work. That sounds pretty shady to me. I don't know how you could run successful podcasts like that, but nowadays I hear about guys like that taking huge financial losses, and that doesn't surprise me because, you know, what you put out there comes back to you. No worries though. Did you guys go to any demolition derbies this weekend? Let me know. So, like, obviously somebody who gets paid to convey specific messages is not likely a free thinker, or they have an understanding with the business partner where they both come to an agreement on what they feel is right. But somebody who just does anything for money only sees green, right? They like the idea of money and they just want the money. They don't care how they get it, they just gotta get it. I totally understand the desire to have money. People pick my pockets on a regular basis, but I choose not to undervalue myself, call myself dumb, or act like I'm in the dark about people picking my pockets, even if it's a socially acceptable practice to cheat me out of my own property, since it belongs to me in the first place. And what I've been seeing is that it's a completely socially acceptable practice in my community and everybody who I used to associate with. But that doesn't matter anymore, because guess who I'm talking to these days? Not them. The question you really got to ask yourself, though, is, are you doing things the way you want to do them because you want to do it? Do you like the work you are doing? Do you feel like it's making the world a better place, what you put out there? Or is it just a matter of conforming to a specific trend or agenda? Because that's the thing about psychological warfare, right? We need everybody to follow the trends so that the higher ups can control everything everybody does. And now that I'm rocking with you guys, this episode of Kimberly Ephone's The Hypothesis has some of those same people probably thinking to themselves, like, damn, it's better to just let this guy earn than to do him dirty and sabotage his opportunities. Why are we cheating him out of opportunities when it's easier to allow him to earn? Maybe he's a valuable asset. That's my optimistic attitude, but for whatever reason, there's somebody picking up the phone all the time, telling lies about me and smearing my name and just throwing my name through dirt. But I don't know how effective it is. Let me know how you rock if anybody works for YouTube. Just want to briefly talk about consumerism and how that's another method of control and psychological warfare. The idea is to make you feel like you constantly need to buy things. So I remember, like, when I was really into gaming, I bought my first PlayStation 1. Then when the PlayStation 2 came out, I had to buy the PS2. When the PS3 came out, I had to buy that. When the PS Vita came out, I had to buy that and get my game on with the portable. When the PS4 came out, I had to buy that. And then by the time the PS5 came out, I just kind of lost interest in buying consoles. But I also had like an Xbox 360, I had an Xbox One, and I sold all of them, but I just kept the PS2 for, I don't know, I guess like nostalgia effect, even though I rarely play games anymore. I just like the PS2 classics sometimes. But the whole idea of consumerism is that you need to constantly always buy shit. Apply that same mindset towards music. Even though I don't have much money and I'm very comfortable living as a minimalist, I actually consider myself to be like pretty blessed with what I have. And I'm not one of those guitarists that needs 50 guitars. I get by with 2 guitars just fine. The very last one I'm going to talk about is obedience training, but it might lead to another discussion briefly as well. Let me explain how obedience training works for you in methods of psychological warfare. Obedience training means you're going to have to learn how to say everything and do everything somebody who holds a higher position than you would require you to do. Because you need to do everything the way they expect you to do it, right? And if you don't, they can start saying things like, well, we don't like this guy doing this. We might cancel him if he had like an opportunity to do something. We're going to take that opportunity away. Sounds like somebody I know in my family, but I've never done anything to deserve that. But whatever they feel, it's all about their emotions and their abuse of power. Obedience training requires the person become obedient to the person who's on a power trip and doesn't treat the people below them properly. They're just more concerned about the power they have sitting up here, and they like the title they hold, but they don't treat people fairly who do the work for them. That's kind of the whole thing about obedience training. Rewind to a time where the good old conspiracy theory was booming for content creation. First of all, let me just remind you guys to look up the definition of what a conspiracy theory actually means on Wikipedia, and hopefully that will give you the required understanding you need. If YouTube decides to like embed a Wikipedia link inside of the description, I'm sure they would if I mentioned conspiracy theories, because it's important we have that link so that we can look up the definition. Anyways, conspiracy theory content was booming starting around like 2007, 2008 areas. I don't know how long it lasted. It lasted quite a while. Lots of information was being revealed, and it's almost like all the shady shit people were doing was coming out. And there was another opposition saying everything being said was a conspiracy to shut it down. And it got to the point where more of these things came out, and more people who hold higher positions were like, oh shit, this is bad. This is making me really nervous. We can't have content creators talking about that, right? Shiver me timbers, Willie. I feel sorry for the next city over, right? Anyways, so what do? They make it mandatory to write out that type of content entirely. And ever since that content creation was written out, almost everything a lot of those YouTubers were discussing became true throughout time, if you ever thought it was false at the time they were discussing it. Like after these people really brought down the hammer on that kind of content and they made it forbidden, people who do bad things were given a reward system to continue doing bad things, while people like me were intentionally oppressed, which I find interesting. Just type in the comments section below right now, I'm above the law because I am privileged. If you feel this and you know it and you claim it, just type in the comments section right now, I am above the law because I am privileged. Let's get back to the subject. One YouTuber I'll never forget during that time had the name The Black Child. I'm not going to discuss specifically what that guy filmed and what he discussed, but one video he filmed in particular, I can never ever forget after seeing what I saw. And guys like The Black Child could not continue doing what he did because things have just gotten way out of hand with these people who feel like they're above the law. And that's not something I'm cool with, but what do you guys think about people being above the law? Do you like it? Maybe you feel the same way. Just type in the comments section, I'm above the law, if you've ever stolen from somebody or worse and could actually get away with it. Maybe because you had people in power protect you because you are above the law. Let me know if you identify as that. I personally never had that privileged lifestyle, so like, obviously I believe in the rule of law and I follow the rule of law, but not everybody else does. Don't worry, everyone. They're protected. Wow, like, we've come a long way with our obedience training because we went to cancel culture to straight up oppression, injustice, and abuse of power. But it's a good discussion for this episode of psychological warfare, and I hope you all enjoy it. Kimmy is signing out as we finish off the last cookie from the Oracle's Bakery. It's a thought-provoking bake from the Brain Oracle, also known as Kimberly Epphone. Until next time, y'all, stay cool, stay fresh, do a little dance, don't text me because I won't answer, and remember, you must comply. And type in the comments section right now, I'm above the law, if you've ever broken the law and gotten away with it.